Joey. So let's talk about your portrait here. I can see you're really working hard on it. You definitely have the eyes down. You've got the spacing really nicely on the eyes. And I think I've figured out what's going on from the eyes down. And I know we had talked about how from the eyes to the chin, the distance from the eyes to the chin is typically about, we draw a line about halfway for where the nose goes. And I was trying to figure out, it looked like all your proportions were good. I mean, it looked like over here, it looked like you have 1/3 and 2/3. And I was trying to figure out what is going on here. And it does look like the nose is a bit low. But this is something else I discovered. I used a ruler here, and I'm using centimeters because they just give kind of a finer measurement. And if I measure the distance from the pupil to the chin here, so you got the eyes in the right place, you got them halfway down here. So then the next guideline you would put would be where the nose goes. And if you put it exactly halfway, this is where drawing faces is such an individual thing, and we have to look at individual faces to see as the ultimate guideline. Between the eye and the chin, okay, I'm going to put this ruler here with the 0 right at your eye, and you can see that it gets to be about 5 centimeters down by your chin. But at the nose, it's 2. It's not even close to 2.5. It's up at 2 centimeters. So the distance from here to here is 2 centimeters, and from here to here is about 3. Actually it's a little more than 3. So what's been going on here is, if doing the guidelines we had talked about generally works, although this is just a little bit below half. So it should be a little above half if you're just doing like a general guideline. But on yours, especially with the smile, what happens is the mouth opens up a little bit, and so the chin drops down a little bit. So you need a little bit more space down here. So that would be something going forward. Make sure this, if you wanted to figure out a way to divide the distance from here to here into fifths, then it's 2/5 and then 3/5. And then once you do that, then everything else should fall in place, because you've certainly seen how to line up the mouth. You've got the bottom of the nose just right. You've got the chin looking good. You've got the jawline in place. What else that will do is once the nose goes up, then the ear is going to shorten. And you can see that you probably look at the ears and say, my goodness, how long are those ears? And it's because if you're going by where on your real face the ear goes down below the nose, if you put it here, it's going to look really long if the nose is a little bit low. Another quick thing about the mouth. So you've got it outlined really well here. You've got the corner looks pointy just like that one. It could be even a little bit more pointy. You've got the dark spaces. You're going nice and lightly on the teeth. Nice job shading in the lips. You'll notice here that it's really light here in the middle where the light's really catching it, so make sure you show that on your drawing. You're getting in the shadows and all, and you know, this nose, you're just getting all the nice shadows in there. Okay, but one thing I want to point out is the reason that this Joey looks a little sadder than this Joey is because this line here is like it's going down. Okay, you can see it makes just a very, very gentle curve down. And I'm going to use this piece of paper just kind of as a guideline, because it's, oops, let me get one of the perfectly straight edges on it. And if I put that edge right at the bottom of the mouth, okay, you can see, or the bottom of the top lip, you can see that the lip comes down in the middle and then goes ever so slightly up before it goes to the corners. Okay, so it's not a frown, it goes down in the middle and then comes up again. Okay, so we've got kind of a curve going on, where here we don't have a curve going on. It's just curving down. Okay, so that's one thing to think about going forward. You're going to need to make sure that you excuse me, I got to fix something here. Make sure as you're going forward, make sure you're looking at this gentle little curve. So you might put a guideline for the mouth, and the guideline's going to show right at the corners of what the corners of the mouth are, and they do. If we line that up with the paper, with the corner of the mouth, you can see that you can't really see any teeth. That middle of the lip goes below what's going to be that guideline. Okay, so let's see if I can do this without totally messing it up. So if we drew a straight line across, and I can't guarantee this is going to be absolutely straight. Here's your guideline. Here's the outer side of the mouth and the outer side of the mouth. If we draw that straight across, no teeth will be showing. So with that guideline, the lip drops down just a little below it and then probably hits right on the line and goes back up again. Ever so slightly. You don't want to really accentuate it too much, or it might look, might get a look that you really don't want. Okay, so that's one thing that's going on with that. You have the thickness of the lips fine. You've got the upper lip is thinner than the lower lip. The opening in the middle reflects pretty much what the opening, yeah, you might have a little bit more opening here for your smile. Might be a little bit more open. Okay, so those are the two main things that I saw on here, is that the nose has to be, your guideline for the nose has to be 2/5, 3/5. The mouth is spot on. I mean, you've lined it up with everything like it should be, but the reason you kind of get this funny look is you've got this big long distance here, and then everything else kind of gets big long distance here, then everything else gets kind of stuck into the bottom here. Okay, I would have to say that if I measure the distance just roughly, like just using the casual method, from this point where your neck hits your jaw to this point is about that wide. And I'm going to measure it against something on your face that we know, just for fun. And I can see that that width is going to be wider than your eyes. Okay, so let's see what it measures like over here. From that point to this point is about that wide. And it's a little bit narrower than the eyes. I think that let me see. Okay, I take that back. This one's a little higher. So this one comes up at a slant, and if it keeps going, it would hit kind of like your upper lip. Okay, so it should be wider, but it should be higher. Maybe it's the right width, but it has to be higher. It has to be just below where that ear is, so that if you were going to draw a line here, it would come down this way, and then that would give you a wider look on the neck. Okay. Oh, one other thing, when you're drawing, I know that when you look in the eye, you can only see a teeny little bit of the pupil inside, and I see that's how you're drawing it. Even though you can only see a little speck of the pupil, I would still make sure that when you make it so that you can see it around here. Make sure that you can see the blackness of it going around. Even though I know there's a spot there, even though we might only see that little bit of speck, if you color this in like a concentric circle, with a concentric circle inside the iris, it's going to read a lot more like the pupil and not a spot in the eye. It'll give your eye a little bit more of a warm feel, and you'll be able to feel that the pupil is a really round shape. Okay, really nice job here bringing the hairline down to the top of the ear. Same on this side. This comes in just a little bit, and if you look in real life, this has a nice gentle curve coming out. Okay, so make sure you give yourself a little bit more of a curve over on this side. Okay, I think those are the very main points I wanted to make. They're just little tweaks here and there now to get a really good likeness. So once again, when you draw that guideline, it looks like between the nose and the chin, where your mouth's edges are, this is going to be less than a third and more than a third, more than 2/3. So let's do the same thing here. So we know that this is going to be 2/5, 3/5, but let's see where this mouth guideline goes. It looks like it's right at about 7 centimeters, and then down below would be about 25. So roughly 1 and more than or 1/3, not 1/3 and more than a third, but it almost looks like it's like a quarter, or not, or smaller than a third. Smaller than a third. Okay, so 3/4 and then a little over 3. Okay, so try to look at those measurements, and they don't have to be perfect measurements. They can be approximate. They can just you can just look at it as a proportion. But that's where things are kind of getting different. Why this doesn't seem to be working down here. you know, this comes down a little bit too far. If this was up here a little bit more, then you'd have more room for the mouth. And you know, there's a lot of chin down here, so that would move everything up and give you more room for your chin. Okay, we'll be talking to you tomorrow. Bye now.